Millionaire, stunned hearing girls speak 9 languages with amazing talent. August Johnson sat at the head of the glossy mahogany table, his sharp eyes slicing through the room like daggers. Every wall of his towering New York office gleamed with trophies of power and piles of cash, symbols of a life crafted from privilege and arrogance. Yet, right now, tension clawed at the air like smoke. He slammed a folder down, voice cold and sharp. "Rosa, you're wasting time. This meeting isn't for cleaning ladies. Stay out of it." Rosa's hands trembled, clutching a rag stained from 1,000 spills. She looked smaller than ever, swallowed by the giant window overlooking the restless city below. Her quiet dignity was a whisper, drowned under August's booming dismissiveness. The room shifted, the air thick with awkward silence and flickers of disbelief. A few heads turned, eyes wide, unseen cracks appearing in August's polished armor. Then, out of nowhere, a small but fierce voice cut through. Rosa is not insignificant. Emma, August's 12-year-old daughter, stood, trembling but fierce. She speaks 9 languages. 9. Arabic, Mandarin, Russian. She even knows ancient Latin and Swahili. The room froze, disbelief crashing in like a thunderclap. Whispers erupted, a wave of confusion and shock flooding the expensive office. August's chest tightened. His daughter's words hung in the air, heavy and impossible to ignore. Rosa's eyes flickered up, glassy but alive, filled with a storm hidden beneath her meekness. How had he never seen this? The girl beside him, small and perfect, was unraveling the foundation of everything he believed. Emma's fingers twitched, voice stronger now, a flicker of rebellion bright in her gaze. "She's more than anyone here ever thought. And maybe that means you've been wrong about a lot of things." The room was caught in a freeze, August's colleagues exchanging stunned looks, murmurs of outrage and confusion bubbling beneath forced smiles. August stammered, a dark fire igniting in his gut. His image, his power, his unshakable throne suddenly teetered. What did it mean if the untouchable cleaning lady was a secret genius? What did it mean if his own daughter challenged his world with quiet brilliance? The questions gnawed at his pride, the cracks in his facade widening fast. That day, August made a decision that shocked everyone. He would offer Rosa a top position in his company, an act of defiance against the status quo that swept through his office like wildfire. Outrage exploded. "This is madness," hissed some. "He's lost it," others whispered. Yet beneath the uproar, something else stirred inside August, a desperate need for redemption. Then came the Emma Johnson Foundation for Human Dignity. 500 million pledged to lift education for those forgotten by money and po. But even as he took the stage at the foundation's launch, a shadow darkened August's hopes. Emma, his brilliant, rebellious daughter, held secrets tangled with a vanished linguistics professor. August's eyes scanned the crowd, a storm of whispers swirling around him. Could one girl's remarkable gift really change a world drowning in inequality? Could it wipe away the hard lines of his own tangled legacy? The question hung, thick and pulsing, as the spotlight narrowed on Emma's quiet, knowing smile. What was Emma hiding? And what storm was about to break? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss out on any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're there, leave that powerful like that helps me a lot with. I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. August squinted into the glaring lights of the crowd, his heart hammering against his ribcage. His daughter Emma stood beside him, her smile radiant yet unsettling, as if she held a secret just beneath the surface. He took a deep breath, trying to steady the whirlwind inside him. Could this moment be the turning point he desperately needed? The crowd murmured, mixed whispers threading through the air. He could hear the small gasps as Emma shifted, her excitement palpable. "Today marks a new beginning," he declared, feeling the weight of the moment press down on him. "We're here to empower those who have been forgotten." His voice rose with conviction, until it faltered, caught by a low hum that swept across the room. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the hall, slicing through the celebratory atmosphere like a knife. A figure. Her usually composed demeanor was gone, replaced by sheer panic. "Stop!" she cried, her voice raw. "You have to stop!" The room fell dead silent, all eyes fixed on her, shock coursing through every individual. "Rosa, what's wrong?" August advanced toward her, instinctively protective, but her face, ghostly pale, told him this wasn't the simple fear of confrontation. She took a deep breath, trying to gather herself. "There's something you don't understand, August. Emma, she's been hiding something from you, from everyone." The words fell like stones, heavy and dangerous. In that moment, the vibrant hopes of his new beginnings blurred into darkness. "What are you talking about?" Emma shot back, her confidence ripping apart. "Dad, don't listen to her." Rosa's hands shook, and she pointed directly at Emma. "She's not just a girl with a talent for languages. Emma is—" Rosa's voice trembled. "Emma is adopted." The collective gasp echoed in the hall, a wave of disbelief crashing over them all. August felt the ground shift beneath him. The familiar landscape of his world suddenly warped and strange. He stood frozen, horror twinging in his chest. Emma's face paled as the truth, that cruel twist, seeped into the air. "How can you say that?" she whispered, anguish rippling through her. "You're lying!" "No," Rosa insisted, her voice firm. "I found her. I thought it was just a simple case of misplacement. I was trying to find her a home. But she was lost in the system, in need of help. There are documents, a birth certificate. Everything. It's true." For a heartbeat, the world teetered in chaos. August's mind raced. Each word spun around him like confetti. But instead of celebration, dread weighed heavy. He had always viewed Emma as the beacon of his redemption. But now doubts cut sharp and deep. If she was not his own, then who was she really? "What else have you hidden?" August's voice crackled through the silence, simmering anger mixing with confusion. Emma's eyes, once bright with innocence, now shimmered with desperation. "I can explain. I was going to tell you." Rosa stepped back, her eyes darting between father and daughter, silently pleading. "This isn't just about you or her," she said, her voice quaking but resolute. "It's bigger than all of us." As gasps rippled through the crowd, a chill crept into August's bones. His whole foundation was crumbling. The ambitious plans, the charity, could it all be rooted in a lie? The questions poured in like ice water, freezing his resolve. Could Emma's incredible gift stem from a darkness he had never fathomed? Emma's gaze locked onto his, frantic and searching. "Dad, please don't turn away from me. I'm still the same person." Tension spiraled, heavy and tense, binding them all as uncertainty filled the room. In that moment, August had to decide. Could he embrace this new reality, or would he push Emma away, shattering the fragile bond that tied them together? Rosa's heart raced, the weight of secrets looming like thunder on the horizon. And outside the windows, the city continued to pulse with life, oblivious to the storm brewing within. The facade of their world was cracking, revealing a darker truth beneath. What lay ahead? Only dread and hope intertwined could tell. The tension crackled in the air, and August's heart raced like a drum in his chest. Emma was staring at him, her eyes wide, tears threatening to spill. I'm still me. I'm still your daughter. Her voice trembled, rising above the murmur of the crowd. But it wasn't enough to drown out the horror Rosa had just unleashed. Rosa looked torn, her hands shaking at her sides. You don't understand. It's more complicated than you think. August, there's a reason I know this. Her eyes darted around the room as whispers escalated, curiosity mixed with fear. Please, just listen. But before she could finish, an unexpected sound interrupted. A loud crash echoed from the back, cutting through the tension like a knife. All heads turned, eyes widening as a figure stumbled into view. It was a man, disheveled, wild-eyed. Panic was written across his face. "Stop the launch!" he shouted, voice raw and frantic. The chaos muted every other sound, all eyes now locked onto him. "Who are you?" August barked, his voice booming. The man took a single step forward, and his breath came in ragged gasps. A panicked look crossed his face. "Eddie, I'm Eddie. You need to know. Emma, it's not just that she's adopted. She's—" His words hung heavy in the air, pulling at the threads of hope and certainty, weaving a tapestry of dread. "What are you saying?" August pressed, confusion coursing through him. "What do you mean?" Eddie's gaze darted toward Emma, panic gripping his features. "She's not just adopted. She's taken. I was part of the process years ago. Emma, she's not who you think she is." The crowd collectively inhaled, shock rippling through every face. Emma stood frozen, and August felt color drain from his face. "Taken? What do you mean?" August echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. He felt an icy grip around his heart. Eddie stepped closer, fear etched on his features. "August, her real name is Sophia. She was part of a trafficker's scheme that I tried to stop. I was undercover." Gasps filled the room. August's vision blurred. His mind raced. He looked at Emma, his daughter, and saw fear replace the warmth. "Emma, or Sophia, what's happening?" "No, this isn't true," Emma cried out, voice cracking, the words spilling from her like a torrent. "Dad, please believe me." "I'm sorry, but it is. You must understand," Eddie persisted, but his voice faltered against the waves of murmurs rising all around them. The tension thickened, suffocating. "This can't be happening," August said, gripping the table to steady himself. The foundation beneath his world crumbled away, leaving a dizzying void. Could this really be true? She was just a little girl before, a beacon of hope, but now— The murmurs of the crowd swelled into a cacophony. "Is this real? How could this have happened?" The chaos wrapped around him, tightening its hold like a storm about to break. Eddie pressed on, desperation coloring his words. "I only wanted to protect her, but they found her. Emma's at risk. You have to help her." Pain shot through August like a bullet, confusion merging with terror. He was on the brink of losing everything: his daughter, his redemption, his ideals of who they were. "What do you mean, at risk?" he demanded, fear choking his voice. Rosa stepped forward, eyes wide. "We have to act, August. Please. We have to find the truth, and we must protect her." In that moment, August felt the weight of the world crashing down. Pieces spun around him, and the question crushed him. Who was Emma, really? What dark corners of the past were coming back? As everyone held their breath, a sudden chill swept through the room. Outside, the city throbbed with life, unaware of the chaos unfolding within the hall. What was set in motion now felt monumental, unstoppable. Then he heard it. A low roar echoed in the distance, growing louder, like a storm rolling in. His chest tightened. What is that? And then it hit. An explosion rocked the building, shaking the very foundations. Shouts broke out, panic overwhelming the stunned silence. The lights flickered, then went out, plunging them into darkness. Amidst the chaos, a chilling thought gripped August. Perhaps this was just the beginning. The truth was far from over, and the shadows, his world, were merging in ways he never anticipated. The explosion shook the building, sending a wave of chaos through the crowd. The lights flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic erupted like a wildfire, shouts and cries bouncing off the walls. August's heart pounded in his chest. He reached for Emma, but his hand grasped empty air. Where had she gone? "Emma!" he shouted, fear clawing at him. He couldn't see her. He stumbled forward, the crowd jostling around him. Everyone was scrambling, desperately trying to make sense of the terror. Rosa's voice cut through the chaos. "August, we need to get to safety. Where's Emma?" He forced the words out, urgency lacing his tone. Just then, sirens blared outside, echoing across the hall like a sinister anthem. The darkness hid 100 unseen horrors, each moment stretching into eternity. He pushed through the crowd, panic surging in every step. The air was thick with smoke, every breath a struggle. The sharp tang of fear mingled with confusion. Suddenly, a nearby door burst open, the bright light spilling across the floor like a beacon in the overwhelming dark. It was Eddie. He rushed in, eyes wide, wild with desperation. "We have to go, now." August barely recognized him. "What about Emma?" Eddie hesitated, and that hesitation sent a jolt through August. She's with someone." The words struck like a thunderclap. "What do you mean? With who?" But before Eddie could answer, the ceiling above them groaned, sending showers of debris raining down. August reflexively shielded his head, adrenaline surging through him. He pushed past Eddie, desperation pulling him toward the last place he had seen Emma. "Emma!" His voice cracked, raw with emotion. The crowd was thinning, people scrambling toward the exit, and in the chaos, he heard a familiar cry. "Dad." It was her voice. He dashed forward and spotted a flicker of movement, a figure silhouetted against the bright emergency lights outside. Emma was there, but she wasn't alone. A man loomed over her, his silhouette sharp and threatening. "Stay away from her," August bellowed, his heart racing. Emma's face twisted in fear. "Dad, he's going to—" Time froze. That man turned, and August recognized him. The man Rosa had pointed out in the crowd weeks ago. The one who had looked at Emma with too much interest. "Who are you?" August demanded, his voice breaking with tension. Then came a quick, chilling laugh. "You really have no idea, do you?" The man stepped closer, and Emma shrank back. "I was told to keep an eye on you both." So naive, so unsuspecting. A surge of rage blocked out every other thought. August surged forward, fists clenching, ready to protect his daughter. "Back off!" The man raised his hands, palms outward. "Relax, I'm not here to hurt her." "Then what do you want?" "Don't you see? You're playing a game far beyond your understanding, August." He tilted his head, a smirk pulling at the corners of his lips. "The truth is, Emma, the girl you think you know is part of something much bigger." "What do you mean?" Panic twisted in August's gut. "What are you saying about her?" The man's eyes gleamed with knowledge. "Think about it. A girl with such talents. You believe she's normal, don't you? But she's special, marked for a purpose." Emma stared at August, confusion and fear mixing in her eyes. "Dad, please." Then the man leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You have to understand. Emma is worth more than you can imagine, worth more than your entire empire." A chill shot down August's spine. The room spun, and everything he thought he knew fell apart. No, this can't be happening. But just then, the man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small device, pressing a button. The lights roared back to life, flooding the room. The shock left August momentarily blinded. But when his vision cleared, he saw everything. The faces of the crowd, the panic, the chaos. And then he caught a glimpse of Emma. She was staring at him, eyes wide in horror, a tear rolling down her cheek. "Dad, please." But the man grinned. Too late. The game has begun. In that moment, everything shifted. Relationships turned, lies were spun, and the very foundation of August's belief shattered. Emma, his daughter, was caught in a web far more dangerous than he dared dream. The truth sat heavy between them, pulsing with anticipation. What lay ahead? Only darkness awaited, and the storm gathered strength around them. The man's grin widened, and he stepped closer. "You think you've done something great?" His laughter echoed eerily against the walls. "You haven't even scratched the surface. Emma is part of a larger game, far more dangerous and thrilling than your charity or your dreams." August's breath caught in his throat, his heart racing. "What are you talking about?" He felt a wave of protectiveness surge through him, ready to shield Emma from this man's twisted grip. But Emma shook her head, fear twisting her features. "Dad, please listen to me." Her voice cracked, a mix of desperation and determination. "I had no idea any of this was happening. Enough." The man snapped, and the room jolted into silence. "Let me explain. The conspirators, the ones who've been looking for her, they're stronger than you think. And now that she's exposed, the game is on for her life. For your life, too." Abruptly, a piercing sound echoed through the hall. The blaring of emergency sirens grew louder, swirling with the tension in the air. A clang reverberated from the main entrance, causing everyone to turn in wide-eyed horror as the doors burst open. Uniformed officers flooded in, weapons drawn, scanning the room with fierce urgency. "Get down!" one officer shouted, urgency laced with fear. The crowd erupted into chaos, people stumbling over each other, trying to escape. August's heart raced. "Emma!" He reached for her, pulling her close, but the man was already slipping away into the shadows, blending into the panic. He turned one last time, a malevolent smile etched on his face. "You think you're safe, August? You're in this deeper than you realize." And then he disappeared. "Out! Everyone out!" an officer yelled, forcing tension and terror into every corner of the room. August dragged Emma toward the nearest exit, adrenaline pumping through him. When they burst outside, the fresh air felt like a lifeline, but the streets were a frenzy. People screamed as they scattered from the building. Flashing lights painted the pavement in blinding colors, red and blue, beating like a frantic heart. "We have to hide." Emma's voice trembled, pulling his focus. "No, we need to get you to safety." As he moved, a chilling thought pierced through his panic. Why was Emma so calm? A nagging doubt swirled in his mind, devastation clawing at his heart. "Emma, why didn't you say anything?" "I was scared," she whispered, a haunting sadness in her eyes. "But it's not just me, it's us." That's when the world around them shifted. An unmarked black van screeched to a halt beside them. And before he could react, two figures jumped out. They were dressed in dark suits, expressions stern, eyes locking onto Emma. "Get in," one ordered, a chilling authority in his tone. "No," August shouted. "Who are you?" "They're with us," Emma said quickly, her voice steadying. "I swear they can help." "What?" August felt the ground beneath him shift. His mind raced, a whirlwind of confusion, fear, and anger. "You can't trust them!" But Emma grabbed his arm fiercely, desperation mixed with determination. "They're the ones who know the truth. They're here to protect me." Just then, a deafening crash came from the building behind them, debris flying. Panic erupted anew. "Go!" she screamed, pulling him toward the van, urgency crackling like electricity. He hesitated, torn between instinct and truth. But then it hit him, the undeniable, gut-wrenching truth. The figures around Emma weren't just allies. They held the keys to a world he had never imagined. Everything he thought he knew crumbled, And in that moment, as he turned to flee, he saw the man from earlier, watching them from a distance, a knowing smile on his face. A warning? A threat? August couldn't tell. But one thing was clear. This story wasn't over. It had only just begun. August's heart raced as they spilled into the chaos outside. The sirens blared, their wailing echoing off the buildings, heightening the tension in the air. He could feel the weight of Emma's hand in his, her fingers trembling, the shock in her eyes mirroring his own. He couldn't shake the lingering question. Was he truly losing her? "Dad, we need to go, now," Emma urged, her voice urgent, filled with an intensity that sent chills racing down his spine. Before he could respond, a loud bang echoed from the front of the building. Everyone turned, eyes wide in terror. An explosion burst forth from the shattered entrance, sending a plume of smoke and debris spiraling into the sky. People screamed, and the panic grew like a living thing. Clawing at his chest. "Over here!" shouted one of the men in suits, now standing near the open door of the black van. "We can't stay in the open." They raced toward the vehicle, but just as they reached it, Emma suddenly stopped. "Wait!" she cried, her eyes darting toward the source of the explosion. "We can't just leave." "Emma, we have to get away from here." August's grip tightened around her, pulling her towards the safety of the van, but her gaze remained transfixed. A look of horror dawned on her face. "Emma, please," he pleaded, fear seeping into his voice. "I can't. I have to know." And before he could catch her, she turned and dashed back toward the building. "Emma, no!" But she was too fast. He held his breath, his eyes straining to see through the haze. "Emma!" he yelled, each syllable echoed back with growing urgency. Then a faint cry reached his ears, a sound so delicate against the chaos. "Dad, help!" His heart raced. Sensing her presence, he pushed forward, urgency propelling him through the haze. He rounded a corner, and there she stood, eyes wide with terror. But she wasn't alone. The man who had threatened them earlier loomed behind her, a gloating smile on his face, eyes glimmering with wicked delight. "No!" August cried, stepping forward protectively. But the man raised a hand. "Don't be rash, August. You've walked directly into the trap." Emma turned to her father, confusion twisting her features. "What are you talking about?" "Emma, or should I say Sophia, you've been nothing more than bait in this entire game." August felt the ground shift beneath him, shock surging through his veins like ice. "What? Sophia, isn't it time you learned the truth about your origins?" the man taunted. With every pulse of the word, a whirlwind of emotions crashed into August. He felt the air around him thicken, disbelief settling heavily. Emma turned to look at him, her expression morphing into one of fear and confusion. "Dad, what's happening? What does he mean?" Before August could respond, the man laughed, a chilling, dark sound that filled the air. "She was never just a girl with extraordinary talent. She's the key to something far more powerful. You're merely a pawn in this game." And just like that, everything he believed began to buckle under the weight of his reality. Was she not just Emma? A sharp explosion echoed nearby, throwing him backward. As the dust settled, the weight of the truth pressed on him. Suffocating. The man stepped back into the shadows, a knowing smile etched on his lips. "You'll all understand soon enough." In that moment, as the debris settled, August realized with a cold shiver that the world around him was not what it seemed. The stakes rose, friendships twisted, and every whispered lie hung heavily in the air. Emma's eyes bore into him, searching, desperate. "What does this all mean, Dad?" The question lingered, electric with uncertainty, as they both stood on the precipice of a truth that could shatter the world they knew. In the stillness that followed, while chaos raged outside, August felt a dawning horror. How deep did the betrayal go? What secrets buried between them waited to be unearthed? And what now would come to light, threatening everything he loved? August felt the ground shift beneath him, disbelief coursing through him like ice water. Emma, his daughter, was caught in a tangled web, surrounded by secrets and lies. He looked at her, panic tightening around his heart. "Emma, please, just tell me the truth." Emma's lips quivered. "Dad, I'm still your Emma." But the uncertainty clawed at him. The man's words echoed in the back of his mind. How deep did the betrayal go? And then, without warning, the air shifted. A thunderous crash erupted from above. The building shuddered violently, a deafening roar drowning out the cries of the crowd outside. Time paused. Then it came crashing down, literally. A heavy beam fell from the ceiling, landing just feet away from them, dust and debris exploding outward. People screamed as chaos flooded through the hall. "Run!" August shouted, instinctively pulling Emma close, shielding her with his body. But as they turned to escape, he spotted a figure standing among the debris. It was Eddie, disheveled and wide-eyed. "You have to get out of here now," he yelled, panic wasting his voice. In the chaos, August saw something flicker in Eddie's eyes, something heavy he didn't quite grasp. "What about the others?" August shouted over the cacophony. "There's no time! Trust me!" Eddie's urgency was palpable, his breathing frantic. The foundation of the room was crumbling. "Emma!" He grabbed her hand, tugging her towards the exit, but Eddie stepped forward. "There's something I need to tell you both," he gasped, desperation etched on his features. "Not now!" August barked, dragging Emma away, but Eddie was insistent. "You have to trust me. This is about her. Emma, she's not just a victim. She's the key to everything." "Stop it!" August shouted, turning around, frustration and fear boiling inside him. Was he losing his mind? "What are you talking about?" Then everything changed in the blink of an eye. A series of loud cracks echoed from above, and without warning, the ceiling began to give way. Dust rained down as another beam fell, crashing to the ground. "Get out, now!" Eddie shouted, pushing them both towards the exit. But as they stumbled outside, the horror continued. In the throng of panicked bodies, Emma suddenly froze. "Wait! I can't leave!" Her voice trembled, her gaze locked on something, or someone, behind them. August spun around, his heart racing. "What do you mean? We have to go!" "Dad, I need to know. Who is she?" Emma's eyes glinted with a mix of fear and determination. A few feet away, a woman emerged from the smoke. She was tall, imposing, her features sharp and piercing amid the chaos. "Emma, darling," the woman called, voice smooth yet chilling, like ice sliding down a mountain. "It's time you learn the truth about who you are." "What?" August gasped, feeling his breath hitch. "What does she mean?" Emma stepped back, confusion flooding her face. "Who are you?" The woman smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "I'm here to bring you home. You belong to us, Emma. You always have." A shockwave rippled through August. Home? What did that even mean? The crowd fell silent, all eyes locked on the unfolding scene. Eddie's expression shifted from panic to resolve. "No, you can't," he shouted. But the woman ignored him. "Your gifts are too valuable to hide away in this pitiful world." The woman continued, her voice drawing Emma in like a moth to a flame. "We've waited too long for you to awaken." "What are you talking about?" August's voice shook, fear coursing through him like a thunderstorm. Before he could react, the woman closed the space between them and reached for Emma. "Join us, and you'll be more than you ever dreamed." August felt ice in his veins. "Emma, don't!" But in a flash, Emma stepped toward the woman, eyes wide and entranced. I want to know." And just like that, everything shattered. August's heart plummeted, the world around him spinning as he realized This was not just about saving his daughter. It was about losing her entirely. She was stepping into a world he couldn't follow. "Emma," he shouted, desperation mingling with terror. "Don't do it!" And as the crowd gasped, the terrifying reality washed over him. Was she meant for something sinister? What had he done? The woman smiled, knowing she had won. Darkness spun in August's chest, a storm gathering. The ground underfoot was shifting, and the truth was slipping through his fingers like sand. What did this mean for their family? As Emma reached for the enigmatic figure, August felt hope dying, replaced by a rising tide of dread. The city seemed to pulse around them, unaware of the storm brewing and the consequences that would soon unfold. The woman's eyes gleamed in the light, a predator sizing up its prey. "Emma, darling," she said, her voice silky yet laced with an unnerving chill. "It's time you learn the truth about who you are." August felt the walls closing in around him. The world blurred, and every breath felt heavier. "No, no, Emma, don't listen to her." Emma, however, stood frozen, caught in a trance, conflict flashing across her pale face. "What do you mean?" she whispered, glancing nervously between August and the woman. "That you're not just special. You're extraordinary. You have a purpose, a destiny waiting. You were always meant to be part of something greater." The woman stepped closer, her fingers twitching as she tried to reach for Emma. "Get away from her," August roared, stepping in front of Emma, desperation clawing at him. "She's just a girl, my girl." The woman smirked, unwavering. "But she's more than that, August. Your attempts to shelter her won't work. You don't even know the half of it." Just then, chaos erupted behind them. A deafening explosion shook the ground, reverberating through the air like a clap of thunder. Glass shattered. A deep rumble followed, sending screams slicing through the panic. August turned just in time to see a cloud of dust billow around them, and the building began to groan ominously. "Run!" Eddie shouted, breaking the spell, but before they could move, a loud crack echoed from above, and chunks of the ceiling rained down like confetti. "Dad!" Emma screamed. August grasped her hand and they dashed away, adrenaline surging through him. As they ran, the world blurred, the sound swirling into a muffled roar. Shouts filled the air, but one voice broke through the haze. "Emma!" He spun around, heart pounding in his chest. A figure emerged from the crowd, a girl, lost and terrified. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as recognition crashed over him. "Sophie!" he gasped. "No, it can't be." In that instant, the woman's expression shifted from smug confidence to panic. "What is she doing here? Who is she?" Emma's eyes were wide with confusion as she pointed at Sophie, who stood frozen like a deer caught in headlights. Then it all clicked, like pieces of a shattered puzzle, fitting into place. The whispers of danger, the hidden truths. August felt his world tilt. "No, Sophie's just a friend. She can't be." Before he could finish, the explosion reverberated again. Heavy chunks fell to the ground, shaking the floor beneath them. "Out, now!" Eddie yelled, but a sudden movement caught August's eye. Sophie lunged forward, collapsing to the floor. "Help!" she cried, her voice breaking. A dark figure emerged behind her, shrouded in shadows, and everything fell silent. "Take her," the figure commanded, and instinctively, August stepped in front of Emma, his body rigid with fear. "I won't let you take her," he shouted, eyes darting between the chaos, danger lurking in every corner. The woman's face twisted into a mask of fury. "You should have let her go." As if the words were a trigger, the ground shook beneath them. An electrical blast illuminated the room, and everything erupted, chaos, screams, and wild energy crackling in the air. Suddenly, Sophie's eyes glinted with something unexpected. A blazing light enveloped her, and she screamed, "I'm not who you think I am." In an instant, shock waves swept through the crowd. All eyes turned to Sophie, who pushed back against the rising energy, her eyes flashing with determination. "You should have known the truth, our true purpose." Light spilled from her as she spoke, radiating power like a sun, and using it to blast the shadows away. The woman staggered back, disbelief etched on her face. It was as if the world paused, the tension thick in the air. Emma gasped, stepping closer, and August's heart raced in sync with the chaos. They all stood there, stunned. "What do you mean, your true purpose?" August managed. "Sophie, what's going on?" But the moment hung in the air, a precarious balance between understanding and chaos. The revelation loomed larger than anything he could grasp, twisting and bending their reality into something unrecognizable. As Sophie's light warped the shadows, August caught a glimpse of something terrifying. Every lie, every truth woven together, unraveling, and in that pivotal moment, he realized the core of it all was much darker. The thread connecting them all was fraying, and everything they believed might just vanish into the darkness. What did that mean for Emma? For them all? The storm had only just begun, and they were caught in its eye, unaware of the whirlwinds waiting just beyond. The air shimmered with uncertainty. Sophie's light pulsed, casting shadows around them, but the tension was. August felt his heart racing, caught between the woman's icy gaze and Emma's frozen stare. "What do you mean, our true purpose?" he pressed. But Sophie's light began to flicker, and the shadows started to creep back. Just then, another explosion rocked the building, shattering the moment. A deafening crash as part of the ceiling crumbled, sending debris raining down. Everyone flinched. August's protective instinct kicked in, and he lunged toward Emma, gripping her shoulder tightly. "We need to get out, now!" But before they could move, Sophie took another step forward, eyes blazing with determination. "You don't understand. I've been trying to hide it, but I'm not just a girl either." The air grew still, and August's heart dropped. "What are you saying?" I'm part of it all. The truth is, there's something inside me. Something powerful." She glanced at the woman, who was now standing eerily still, a mix of shock and anger painting her features. "I must show you. It's time." Emma's eyes darted between them, confusion etched on her face, but Sophie continued, her voice rising in urgency. "I was scared before, but now we have to confront this together." Suddenly, the lights above them flickered violently. The electricity hummed ominously. "No," the woman shrieked, a mixture of rage and fear as the lights pulsed. "You can't do this." Sophie raised her hands, and a blinding flash of light erupted, illuminating everything. For a split second, August felt weightless, suspended in the air, and then darkness followed. He felt a wave of heat and panic wash over him. When the light dimmed, everything shifted. The room transformed, as if the very fabric of reality had bent. August blinked, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Around him, shadows now twisted and shifted, revealing figures that had been concealed. More of them, all with similar features. "More of us," one whispered, eyes darting, a mix of recognition and fear washing over everyone present. "Who are they?" August gasped, stepping back, clutching Emma's hand tightly. "They are my siblings," Sophie breathed, her eyes shimmering with emotions. "We were never lost. We were hidden." "What?" August's chest tightened as the implications sank in. "But I thought you—" "They were keeping us apart," Sophie cut in, tears glistening. "The woman, she's part of the organization that took us from our families, our real families." The woman howled in outrage, "You're making a mistake!" But the urgency in her voice betrayed her insecurity. Emma's breath hitched, confusion morphing into realization. Wait, so you're saying Sophie? Yes, it's not just about Emma being adopted. It's about our origins being connected. We're all part of something larger. Sophie's voice rang with clarity. Fear coursed through August's veins as everything he believed shattered. What does this mean? Who are you really? Just then, a rumble echoed through the air, and the shadows surged forward, closing in around Sophie and the figures emerging from the darkness. We need to leave now, one of them urged, urgency lacing their voice, as another shouted, "They're coming for us!" The explosion outside sounded again, louder this time, shaking the ground beneath their feet. "Faster! We need to move!" Eddie yelled, slipping past the chaos. But Sophie turned, holding her ground, her expression fierce. "You don't understand. If they find us, they'll destroy everything." August recoiled, shock crashing over him like waves. The truth was unraveling faster than he could grasp. "Sophie, no! You can't face them alone!" But she didn't waver. "I must! If we're going to survive, we have to reclaim what's ours, before it's too late." The crowd erupted in panic around them, voices screaming, feet pounding against the ground, life rushing away from danger. And in those final moments, as the chaos unfolded, August felt a sinking realization. He was losing his daughter to secrets that threatened to unravel their existence. "Wait!" he shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. But a new shock gripped him as he looked back. The woman was gone, and behind her, a shadowy figure lingered at the exit, their expression hidden beneath darkness. "Who are you?" August demanded, fear wrapping tightly around his chest. As the figure stepped into the light, a chill enveloped them all. It wasn't just another enemy. It was someone from his own past, someone he thought was lost forever. The world around him shifted as recognition turned to dread. "Hello, August," they said, voice smooth and haunting. "Did you miss me?" In that moment, everything, the past, the present, all bleeding together, leaving August on the brink of an unimaginable confrontation. Who could he trust now? What had he truly lost? With that haunting revelation hanging in the air, uncertainty unfurled like smoke. And in the chaos, only one question echoed louder than all the others. Was everything they knew about family and love nothing but a fragile illusion, ready to shatter into pieces? August stood frozen, realization crashing down on him like a tidal wave. The figure from his past, a ghost he thought he'd buried, stood before him. "Ben." "You," August breathed, pain and anger coursing through him. "Surprised to see me?" Ben smirked. "You've been running for so long, August, but you know it's time to face the music." "Stay away from my daughter," August barked, his voice shaking with fury. Emma clutched his arm tighter, confusion swirling in her eyes. "August, I'm here to help," Ben said, his tone eerily calm. "This is bigger than you think. Emma, Sophie, was never just a target. She's part of a larger plan, and you're both tangled up in it." Emma's face blanched. "What do you mean? Who are you to her?" Before Ben could answer, the shadows around them flickered, and the chaos outside intensified. They could hear sirens blaring louder, and confusion spilling into the air. But his focus fixated on Emma. "You're fine, Emma. We'll protect you." His voice trembled with fear, desperation clawing to break free. But Sophie, a flicker of defiance in her bright eyes, stepped toward Ben. "Enough. I want to know the truth. What does it mean to be special?" The tension turned electric. "You don't want to pursue this path," Ben warned. But there was something in Sophie's gaze that pushed ground rules into oblivion. "I can handle it," she shouted, determination shining fiercely. "Tell me the truth." August felt panic rise, a lump in his throat. "Sophie, no, we don't know what he wants." But Ben smiled, a chilling grin that sent shivers down their spines. She deserves to know. You've kept her in the dark, August, just like I did with you. Stop! Emma shouted, her voice cracking. Dad, please! Then a blast erupted behind them as another part of the ceiling collapsed, dust swirling and choking the air. It felt as if everything was poised for collapse, and in that chaos, August barely registered when Sophie stepped forward, her hands raised high. Enough of this, she declared, and a wave of light tied to her energy billowed outwards. August felt a warmth wash over him, igniting something deep inside, strength mingled with fear. Ben's expression shifted from smug to furious. What are you doing? I'm taking control. Sophie's voice thundered like a storm, her energy buzzing through the air. Light exploded around them, and with it, confusion twisted into clarity. Suddenly, the figures of her siblings appeared, glowing with power that surged together. We're not alone, one shouted. We stand together. Their unity became a shield. August grasped Emma's hand, a rush of adrenaline pushing them forward. Let's go, he cried, and they burst through the debris, the chaos of the world spilling into the light outside. They stood on the street as dawn broke. The survivors of the explosion gathered, eyes wide with awe. Sophie turned to August. I'm ready to face this together. Breathless, he offered a smile amidst the chaos, a flicker of hope igniting. But then he looked over at Ben, who was slowly recovering, rage burning in his eyes. You think this is over? You are stepping into a game you can't control. But as August turned back to Sophie and Emma, he felt something settle within him. No, we control our own destiny now. With determination, August stepped forward, uniting with Sophie, surrounded by her siblings. They formed an unbreakable circle, shadows shrinking against their light. This was the beginning, and they were unwavering. Yet as they moved toward a new dawn, the echoes of danger trailed closely behind. What lay ahead was unknown, but they'd face it together, unbroken. This is your moment to be part of the journey. You must subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. And don't wait one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this ending. Together, we'll uncover more mysteries.